This week we're looking more in general at what Scripture says about civil authorities that are placed over us. In Romans chapter 13, the first two verses, everyone must submit to governing authorities, for all authority comes from God, and those in positions of authority have been placed there by God. So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and they will be punished. Paul says some very direct things here. Civil authorities are instituted and placed there by God. The thing that makes me stop and think about that is the fact of who Paul was talking about. When Paul wrote the book of Romans, Nero was the emperor. Now, Nero was the great nephew of Emperor Claudius. So he was of a royal family in Rome. Claudius, as his predecessors had done, sort of selected his own successor, and he wanted it to be Nero. So he took his great nephew and adopted him as son. That put Nero in direct line to succeed Claudius. Claudius died when Nero was 17 years old. So at 17, Nero becomes Caesar over all of Rome. Now his tutor was Seneca, the same Seneca that you may have read about in Greek philosophy. Good man. His mother's name was Agrippina. And so Seneca and Agrippina sort of directed and guided Nero. Agrippina began to become a little bit more forceful a couple of years into Nero's reign. And so he had her killed. His early reign was relatively successful. Some wars, which Rome won, some diplomacy, which again, Rome ended up being favorably treated in trade treaties. So early on, things seemed well, but then Nero wasn't content just to be emperor. He began to present himself as a poet, as a musician. We frequently hear of Nero playing his lyre. As an actor, even as a charioteer in the races, he began to live with extravagance. He raised taxes, which caused the middle class, which were primarily those who paid the taxes, to be upset with him. But presenting himself as actor and charioteer greatly pleased the common people. So Rome was divided. During this time, a great fire broke out. Nero declared the Christians responsible for the fire, and he began to punish them for the allegations, punish them very inhumanely, burning them alive in his own garden. During this time, the gladiator matches just became very, very prominent. This was the man that Paul said, respect your governmental authority. You know, it really doesn't matter who is elected next week. We are told to respect them and obey them as authority because God is in control. And for whatever reason, God places in control the person that he has chosen. It'll be interesting to see how things play out the rest of this week and next week after the elections. But rest assured, God is in control. And we are told to submit to the authority placed over us, whether that's our candidate or not. God bless you. I'm praying for you during this time. Please pray for our elections, that God's will be done. See you tomorrow.